one of the things that the teenagers who unfortunately had to experience the mass shooting in Parkland, Florida, are now pointing to is political corruption. They are very well aware of how the NRA funds politicians. They know how the NRA is funded by weapons manufacturers that just want to make a buck by loosening whatever gun laws we have in place now. And so they are going after the politicians who are either being funded by the NRA or refuse to give up that funding by the NRA. Case in point, Marco Rubio. I love this story. Recently, a student from Parkland, Florida said the following: "We should change the names of AR-15s to Marco Rubio because they are so easy to buy." Sarah Chadwick is the name of that student, and she's incredible. By the way, Rubio has an A+ rating from the NRA and has received $3.3 million in donations from the organization over the course of his political career.
This is an earnest question. Did you just call him Ruby-Ho?
No, if I did, that wasn't intentional,
okay,
sorry.
All right, no, I would do it, I don't care. Yes, by the way, Donald Trump has taken 10 times as much in just one election cycle. He took about over $31 million from the NRA, both to support him and to attack Hillary Clinton. There's some questions about where some of that money came from, maybe from abroad, which would be illegal, by the way, and that's being investigated apparently. That's why it's not a coincidence that both Donald Trump and Marco Rubio, having taken millions of dollars from the NRA, who takes millions of dollars from gun manufacturers, have decided that they don't want to slow down the sales of gun manufacturers. And so for a lot of people in DC, and unfortunately on TV, that's verboten. You're not allowed to talk about donors. Almost no television anchor ever asked the politicians about their donors. And in fact, when that became an issue in the 2016 primary on the Democratic side, they kept badgering Bernie Sanders like, "Are you saying that Hillary Clinton might have changed a vote based on her donors?" With unbelievable disbelief. But these kids, they don't work on television. They don't know what's forbidden to say for whatever crazy reason. They're not in politics. They're like, well, it's kind of obvious. Marco Rubio took $3.3 million, and then he refuses to counter the NRA and refuses to buck this system. He has an A+ rating from the NRA. Gee, I wonder why. Right. And by the way, not just credit to Sarah Chadwick for that great quote, but also to Cameron Kasky, who asked him in the first place in the town hall, "Will you give up the NRA money?" And he absolutely refused to.
And Cameron was relentless, follow-up after follow-up after follow-up, more follow-ups than most journalists do, right?
Absolutely, no, I would take those kids and put them on cable news, I swear to God, way more than I would have those current cable news anchors. Because they don't know what the unwritten rules are. The unwritten rules are political money goes into cable news. It goes into cable news at billions of dollars, so shh.
So I have to jump in because I think for the most part you're right, but I think it's certainly the case when it comes to income inequality, regulating the banking system, anything that has to do with financial reform. They never talk about corruption in politics, ever. They won't touch it. Because a lot of those banks, a lot of the people who are in favor of crony capitalism do buy advertisements on cable news. But there is something a little different that I'm noticing when it comes to political corruption in regard to the NRA. Usually after a mass shooting, they will talk about that political corruption for a day or so, and then they'll move on.
But you know why? Because gun manufacturers don't buy ads on cable news.
That's right, I was gonna get to that. So they feel a lot more, look, this is my speculation obviously, but I feel like they're a lot more comfortable talking about that form of political corruption as opposed to the corruption that we see with Wall Street.
Or pharmaceutical companies, which are huge advertisers.
Oil companies.
Et cetera.
Yeah. So just to validate something you both have been saying for years, we've been recently doing some focus groups around the country. Trump voters, drop off Democratic base voters, and one thing that unites voters everywhere is this lack of faith in the system, the idea that the system is bought. And again, one silver lining here will be that these issues of systemic corruption are being mainstreamed, and for the long haul, hopefully. So it's pretty amazing. It also is notable that Rubio's response to this was No, they're not buying me off. They're buying into my agenda.
Right.
As if that's a great. So my agenda includes kids getting killed in school. Like, that's a horrible thing for him to say.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a lose-lose. And it's amazing to see the tables turned on Republican politicians like this, so that either way they answer it, they're looking pretty bad right now. It's just a matter of the spotlight finally being shined.
No, look, when you've got deeply establishment figures like Senators Gillibrand and Booker now saying no corporate PAC money, I'm not going to take it anymore, the tide has turned. So wolf-pac.com. Get in the fight, find a way, even if it's not Wolfpack, make it another group, but make sure you fight to get money out of politics. Because the cavalry with these younger generation has arrived. So up and at them. Let's go fight, let's go win. What you just watched was one of the videos that we do today, but we actually do a whole 2-hour show every single day. It's a podcast. You could watch it in video or listen to it as audio. You can download it, you can stream it, and you get it completely ad-free if you could become a member of the Young Turks. tytnetwork.com/join.